This Parkland shooter dude. This Nikolas Cruz dude. He killed 17 people. From the Parkland school, that dude. Look at all these ads, and they wonder why people don't come to their website. Come on now, Tampa Bay. Video here, ad here. Talking about a privacy privacy policy. Another ad right here. Good Lord. It's distracting. Let me try to, and then when you try to click out of some of this stuff, it'll actually click the ad, even though you know you're not trying to get the freak. Anyway, so I was minding my business being nosy, and I was going through my subscriptions, and then I saw that it was a hearing for this dude. And I was like, bitch, why are you wasting taxpayers' money? We know you did it. Like, why do they even, but I guess you have to give people a fair trial. Like, dude, you killed 17 people. Just take you out back and stone you. Let all of the victims' families take you out back and stone you. But then I got on here and I was just, waiting to see what he looked like now. And then I said, what? Whoa. I was like, oh, and then I said, okay, he must be going for an insanity plea. Because do they not believe in combs and brushes? It makes no sense, I tell you, for white people not to comb their hair. It's easy. It's not kinky. Looks like the sheriff has a boner or something. He saw the judge. And she was like, is that your baton, or are you just happy to see me? But no, I'm not the only one simping over here. Look at the chat. People are going to start saying how hot the judge is. Watch this. You just wait for it. She looks nice. See her name above? Watch. Let's get it. You see how she came out, took her mask off, and flipped her hair? She's gorgeous, though. I think somebody said I think he forgot what a hairbrush is. Here we go with the hair again. My future ex-wife is holding court. Look, she's too hot to be the judge. Because if he got a hold of her, 14 students and 3 faculty members. So some people in the comment section, not just the chat, was saying how hot she was. And some women were saying, you're a misogynist. You can't even give these feminist women compliments. You're a misogynist. He didn't even say anything bad. Just said that the judge was gorgeous. This is crazy, yo. How can you kill that many people and sit there like you're innocent? Hold on, let's see. We're gonna get any more judge close-ups. Come on now, let's simp. Counts
1 through 17 of the indictment charge you with murder in the first degree. These are life felonies. They are punishable.
Look, they were so sick of people simping that they turned on subscribers only mode. Only channel subscribers of 5 minutes or longer can send messages. Like, people ain't just gonna hit subscribe and wait 5 minutes and start simping again.
And they're punishable by one of 2 ways: either life in prison or the death penalty.
The death penalty. He killed 17 people. Isn't she hot, Clarissa G? Hot. What up, Clarissa? If I had the eggplant emoji, I had been her over that desk and be like, Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor.
Do you understand that in Florida, life in
Do
prison
you understand that he would kill you if he could?
does not carry parole like other states. Do you understand that life in prison means the term of your life?
I'm telling you, look at her, Chris.
You will not come out until you are no longer alive. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you gone over that with your lawyer?
You will not come out. A lot of men watching this won't come out. They gonna get you pregnant. What are you talking about?
And do you understand that that is the minimum penalty on count?
Do you understand that this right here is not what's up?
1 through 17. In other words, that is the best case scenario for you as a term of the rest of your life in Florida State Prison. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
It looked like a lot of men been having fun in his hair, if you know what I mean.
Understand the maximum penalty is death.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that that issue will be left to a jury to decide in a separate trial?
But I'm just saying, how in the world have we come so far in society that you can't even compliment a woman if you're a man, and then they call you a misogynist, or you can't compliment a woman as a woman, or they call you gay? Like, get the freak out of here. Can I not recognize her beauty? Will I still touch her booty? Sure. But let me recognize her beauty, because it's my duty to please that booty.
Yes, I do understand.
Do you understand, has anyone made you any promises or guarantees as to what sentence would be imposed if you were to plead to the charges?
Someone says she does look good today. She looks good every day. Freaking me.
1 through 17 of murder in the first degree.
Oh, ma'am.
And when I ask you if anyone's made you any promises,
Oh, you're so polite, aren't ya? When your life is on the line with your bushy eyebrows looking like caterpillars.
guarantees, I mean your own lawyers as well, have they made you any promises or guarantees as to what sentence
You're a booger wolf in comparison to the judge with your big forehead. Why don't you just lay down and take a nap on her forehead whenever you get tired?
will be imposed, whether it be life or death on counts 1 through 17 by you pleading here today?
Oh, ma'am.
Now, sir, this is what we would refer to as a
Thank you. She looks good every day. Thank you, babe.
strategy decision. In other words, by waiving your right to a jury trial on counts 1 through 17,
The judge is beyond gorgeous. Yo, you waived your right to a jury trial. Let me shut up. Hold on. Let me go back. You waived your rights?
what we would refer to as a strategy decision. In other words, by waiving your right to a jury trial on counts 1 through 17 specifically, you're waiving your right to require that the state prove each.
And I'm waving at you because you're hot. So he's pleading guilty. Good. Because that's what I was saying at the beginning of this. Get the freak out of here. We know you did it. Get the freak out of here wasting taxpayers' money.
Every one of these charges against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. Do you understand?
I love this point of view porn we got going here. Let me stop.
And do you understand that if the state were unable to prove any of the elements in any of counts 1 through 17, the
Look, here we go again, perving on the judge. Shut the freak up. Let us perv.
jury would have to find you not guilty? Do you understand? Do you understand a possibility could be that a jury would find you guilty of a lesser included offense to any of these charges, which may not include a mandatory life sentence at a minimum? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that by pleading to these charges, you are facing a minimum best case scenario of life in prison?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you discussed this strategy with your
Best case scenario, I mean, I guess against death, that's a best case scenario. But life in prison, you know you did something terrible when life in prison is the best case scenario.
lawyers?
Yes, I have.
And do you believe that it is in your best interest to enter into a plea to these charges and waive your right to go to...
Aww. You named all the victims. R.I.P. to all the victims, y'all. Shout out to Amy Diaz.
trial and require the state to prove these charges against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you gone over...
Oh, no, I'm saying you can't kill 17 people and try to avoid death. Somebody said make him listen to Piers Morgan on loop for the rest of his life. And Nick Cannon songs from the early 2000s.
pros and cons of that decision with your lawyers?
Yes, I have.
And have you had enough time to consider both the pros and the cons of your decision?
She is very competent in doing this right. It's important to go through this stuff. Don't they have to go through this stuff? Like, it's optional.
I have.
Ultimately, it is your decision, and whatever decision you make is fine with me. I'm not here to tell you
Yes, you are fine.
this decision to make. I'm here to make sure that you, whatever decision it is that you make, is made knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently, so that you are fully
I don't know about intelligently. Nothing is intelligent about this.
informed and you understand the consequences of your decision. Have you gone over the consequences of this plea here today of
No, but I've gone over everything I want to do to you in my head.
guilty with your lawyers?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that you are waiving your right to have the first part of the trial, which is often referred to as the guilt phase, where the jury would find you guilty or not guilty?
I understand.
And do you understand that the state will still have the opportunity to present testimony and evidence against you at what's called phase 2, or the penalty phase of the trial?
Yes, I do understand.
Okay, and you've gone over that with your
That's what I'm saying.
lawyers in depth, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about your decision?
Yes.
You do have a question?
I was wondering if I could say something to the victims.
What? Say something to the victims. Bitch. I want the victim's family to be able to say something to you, which is rotten hell, you messy hair bastard.
Well, before you do that,
And can I say something to you? Can I shoot my shot? Hi, Judge. I just want to let you know that you're hot.
do you have any questions about the rights that you're waiving, or about the decision that you're making, or the strategy decision that you're making with your lawyers as far as pleading today?
No, I understand.
Okay, and you fully have the chance to think about that and to discuss that with your attorneys. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone threatened or coerced you into entering into this plea today?
Ma'am.
And sir, have you had ample time?
He thinking I'm going to grip my dick so hard tonight. I'm going to grip my dick so hard tonight. Before the lights out, I'm going to knock your brains out.
Enough time to speak to your lawyers about your plea.
Yes.
And is there anything
Can you imagine, like, because I don't think he has his little handcuffs on. Or maybe he does. At the wrist. But can you imagine if you're a man and you've been in jail this many years and you see a hot woman like that? I'd be surprised if this was going on under the table. I'm telling you, it was a judge that was arrested for jerking off. Like, I don't even want to play it, but it's a YouTube video on here. He got arrested for pleasuring himself on multiple occasions. I'm not even playing with y'all. Jerking off. The jerking off judge. Just look it up.
else you feel your lawyers need to do on your behalf that they have not already done before you enter into your plea today?
Yes. I wanted her to suck my dick, but she didn't.
Sir, do you understand? I've gone over charges 1 through 17. I've told you that they carry a minimum of life in prison and a maximum of the death penalty. Counts 18 through 34 you're charged by indictment with attempted murder in the first degree.
Look, presiding. More like pre-coming.
And each of those carries a separate penalty, so I'm going to go over those with you now. With regard to count 18, attempted murder in the first degree concerning victim Ashley Baez, you're facing up to a 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence because the state has alleged that you actually possessed a firearm, that you discharged that firearm, and as a result of said discharge, you inflicted great bodily harm upon Ashley Baez.
If he discharged his semen right now at you, he would inflict great bodily harm to your face.
Do you understand, sir?
Yes, I do.
Do you understand that you're facing between
Because he got blue balls from hell.
25 years to life in prison as a maximum penalty?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that the 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence is a day-for-day sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute?
Yes, ma'am.
Count 19, you're charged with attempted murder in the first degree with regard to victim William Olson. Sir, in that particular charge, The state has alleged that you discharged a firearm, that you possessed a firearm, which means it carries a 20-year minimum mandatory prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute, up to and including life in prison. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Count.
Somebody said she has to do that with each one. Like you don't want, like the families don't want their loved one's name spoken. Of course they want justice for their loved one, and they want their loved one to be remembered. And this person sitting here like, oh, she has to do it for each one.
20.
No, each one. That's somebody's loved one. Put some respect on their name.
Attempted murder in the first degree with regard to victim Kashava Managapuram. The state is alleging in that count that you discharged a firearm, and as a result of the discharge that you inflicted great bodily harm upon this victim, which carries a 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute, up to and including life in prison. Do you understand?
I understand.
Count 21, attempted murder in the first degree of Justin Colton. That is a 20-year minimum mandatory under Florida's 1020 life statute for the use and possession and discharge of a firearm. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Count 22 is attempted murder in the first degree regarding victim Alexander Dworet. The state is alleging in that count that you did actually possess, use, and discharge a firearm, which carries a 20-year minimum mandatory prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute. Do you understand?
I understand, ma'am.
Count 23 is the attempted murder in the first degree of Genesis Valentin. The state is alleging that you actually possessed and discharged a firearm, which carries a 20-year minimum mandatory prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute. Do you understand?
I understand.
Count 24, the attempted murder of Daniela Menescal. The state is alleging that you actually possessed and discharged a firearm under Florida's 1020 life statute, which carries a 20...
I guess that person was trying to say, since those people didn't die when she's talking about the attempted murder, that she shouldn't have to go over all of them. Well, still, I don't care if you kill somebody or you attempted to kill somebody. They matter.
A minimum mandatory prison sentence. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Count 25 is the attempted murder in the first degree of Samantha Grady. The state is alleging that you did actually possess and
Some of these people still have medical problems to this day from what he did.
discharge a firearm when you attempted to murder Samantha Grady, which carries with it a 20-year minimum mandatory prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
His therapist probably told him to apologize so he feels better about himself. Exactly. We don't want you to feel better about yourself. Forget what you got to say. Are you trying to hand him? Oh, I thought you was trying to hand him a tissue. That looked like a piece of paper. And say boo-hoo.
Sir, count 26 is the attempted murder in the first degree of Samantha Fuentes.
I feel more sorry for that lice in your hair than I do for you.
In that count, the state is alleging that at the time you did possess, discharge, and inflict great bodily harm upon Samantha Fuentes, which carries with it a 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Count 27 is the attempted murder in the first degree of Isabel Checker. The state is alleging that you did possess and discharge a firearm contrary to Florida's 1020 life statute, which imposes a 20-year day-for-day minimum mandatory prison sentence. Do you
We
understand?
might need to check your eyebrows to find Brian Laundrie, because they real bushy. Get the freak out of here. He could be hiding in that mud freaker.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, count 28 is the attempted murder in the first degree of Samantha Mayer. The state is alleging that you did actually possess, use, discharge, and as a result of the discharge, inflict great bodily harm upon Samantha Mayer, contrary to Florida's 1020 life statute, which carries with it on that count a 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Count 29, attempted murder in the first degree of Benjamin Wickender. The state is alleging that at the time that you attempted to murder Benjamin Wickender, that you did discharge the fire.
So this just saying person says, wait just a second. You mean he actually used a gun Oh, that puts the case in a whole different category. Weren't you just mad because you said we were perving on the judge and saying she was hot and that we were inappropriate, but yet you're in the freaking live chat being sarcastic? What makes what you're doing any better than what we're doing?
And inflict great bodily harm upon Benjamin Wickender, contrary to Florida's 1020 life statute, which in this count carries with it a 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Count 30, the attempted murder of Madeline Wilford. The state is alleging that in this particular count you did possess, use, and discharge a firearm inflicting great bodily harm upon Madeline Wilford, contrary to Florida's 1020 life statute, which carries on this count a 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to know where Miss Congeniality graduated from.
Count 31 is the attempted murder in the first degree of Marian Kabachenko. The state is alleging that in this particular charge that you did possess and use and shoot a firearm during the commission of this charge, and that you discharged the firearm, contrary to Florida's 1020 life statute, which carries with it a 20-year minimum mandatory prison sentence. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So 20-year mandatory on somebody he killed, but 25-year mandatory on somebody he attempted to kill. Make sense.
Count 32 is the attempted murder in the first degree of Stacy Lepel. In this count, the state is alleging that you discharged a firearm during the commission of the felony, which carries with it a 20-year minimum mandatory prison sentence. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Count 33 is the attempted murder.
So how are they valuing this? Because some of the attempted is 25, some of the murders are 20. Like, what the freak?
The first degree of Anthony Borges. The state is alleging on this charge that you did actually possess, use, discharge, and as a result of the discharge that you did inflict great bodily harm upon Anthony Borges, contrary to Florida's 1020 life statute, which carries with it a 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And finally, in count 34 of the indictment, the state is alleging that you attempted to murder in the first degree Kyle Lamont, and that during that act you did actually possess, discharge, and inflict great bodily harm upon the victim, contrary to Florida's 1020 life statute,
She's all like, look how hot the judge is. I wish I looked as good as her.
which carries with it a 25-year minimum mandatory prison sentence, which is a day-for-day sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute. Do you understand, sir? Sir, do you understand that on counts 1 through 34, by entering into a plea, you are giving up your constitutional right to require that the state prove each and every one of these allegations beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand you're giving up your right to present testimony and evidence or a defense, if you have one, with regard to these charges?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that at trial, sir, your lawyers would have the opportunity to confront and cross-examine each and every one of the state's witnesses who's called to testify against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand, sir, that at trial, you would have the right to remain silent, and that's an absolute right that could not be and would not be held against you in any way whatsoever. However, by entering into a plea to these charges, you are giving up that right. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, do you understand that you are giving up your right to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court?
Uh-oh. Giving up your right to appeal.
In other words, if you were to go to trial and you were to be convicted on any of counts 1 through 34 or a lesser included offense of counts 1 through 34, and your lawyers or you or an appellate lawyer believe that error was made during the course of the trial, you would be able to appeal the judgment and sentence to a higher court. That's a court that sits in appellate capacity above this court. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand, sir, that by entering into a plea, you're waiving that right?
She's one of those people that was real pretty her whole life, but then she wanted to go into a career that shows that she has brains, not just beauty, when in reality we just want her to give us brain.
Do you understand, sir, that if you are found, if you are sentenced to death in this case, that will not be a reason to revisit the strategy here today? In other words, the decision that you and your lawyers have made to plead guilty to these charges, which carry a maximum penalty of death.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're on death row waiting to be sentenced, you can't say, you know what, that wasn't a good strategy. Maybe I should
She's beautiful, but her voice can be annoying. Seriously?
have gone to trial and required the state to prove it. It will be too late at that time. Do you understand?
I understand.
Do you understand that after today, when I accept your plea, you are stuck with your decision and you cannot change it? It will be too late.
I understand.
Do you understand that if you tell your lawyers, you know, put this back on the judge's docket because I changed my mind and I want my phase 1 of the trial, you will not be able to change your mind. You will not be able to make that decision after today. Do you understand?
I do understand.
Do you understand that there have been a number of appellate issues that have gone on throughout the course of this case? Do you understand by entering into a plea, you will be waiving your right to appeal those issues to a higher court?
I do understand.
And are you comfortable with the decision that you have made today?
Yes.
Do you feel you've had enough time to speak to your lawyers and to decide whether or not this plea to phase 1 of the
Why do you want a trial? That's wasting taxpayers' money.
phase is in your best interest?
Yes.
And do you believe that decision to be in your best interest?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any doubts about that?
No.
Do you need additional time to speak to your lawyers about anything that I've gone over or about your decision to plead guilty to these charges here today?
No, ma'am.
Sir, do you understand all of the constitutional rights that I've gone over with you?
I do.
And do you understand that you're waiving each and every one of the
Oh my God. Yes, he gets it.
constitutional rights?
I do.
You don't even go over your rights when you're about to be interrogated as long as she's doing. But I guess that's more serious because we're talking life and death here.
Have any questions about any of these rights?
No, ma'am.
Do you wish to waive these rights and enter into a plea today?
Yes.
Sir, do you understand that if you are not a U.S. citizen, you will be subject to deportation under the laws and regulations of the Department of Homeland Security upon entering into this plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand, sir, that if the offense to which you are pleading is determined to be sexually violent or sexually motivated in any way, or if you've been previously convicted of a sexually violent or sexually motivated offense, this plea may subject you to involuntary commitment under the Jimmy Rice Jessica Lunsford Acts upon completion of your sentence? Do you understand?
I do understand.
State, have you disclosed all items of physical evidence in discovery?
Jessica Lunsford. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Jessica Lunsford. Hold on. It was an American 9-year-old girl from Florida who was murdered. And Lord have mercy. I'll have to read that on my own.
Yes, Your Honor, I must say that, discovery is still going on.
Sure.
In the defense and the state as we go, and it has been, since the beginning of this case.
Okay. To this point, has the defense reviewed all of the discovery in this case with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is either side aware of any physical evidence, if tested, that would exonerate the defendant of any of the 34 charges as charged in the indictment?
The state is not aware of it.
Your Honor, based on the discovery that we have received, we are not aware of any.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does either side believe that there is anything that I need to go over with the defendant that I have not already gone over as far as his plea is concerned? State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Just to clarify, counts 18 through 34, the maximum sentence for, the court clearly went over the minimum mandatories that each of those counts carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment.
Okay, sir, do you understand? I'm sorry if I did not make this clear. Counts 18 through 34, attempted murder in the first degree, carry the minimum mandatory penalties that I went over with you, which were either 20 or 25 years.
Oh, okay. 20 or 25, like I said.
The day-for-day prison sentence under Florida's 1020 life statute. However, they each, in and of themselves, without the 1020 life enhancement, they still carry life in prison. Do you understand?
I do understand.
Okay, Mr. Marcus?
As a result of pleading guilty to these charges, have any promises been made to the defendant by anyone as to what evidence will be admitted or excluded from the penalty phase.
Sir, have any promises been made to you as far as what evidence may or may be presented against you by the state at the penalty phase in this trial?
No, ma'am.
Okay, do you understand that you should, as far as you're concerned, you should go forward with the understanding that everything that could be presented against you can, I'm not saying that it will be or that it is, but you should assume that all of the evidence that was going to be presented against you will be presented against you in phase 2 of the trial, with the exception of any constitutionally excluded evidence, which I don't believe, well, some of the orders that have been signed to this point where that both parties have agreed that a certain evidence would be excluded, that would still be excluded, and perhaps any other constitutionally impermissible evidence that hasn't been decided on yet. But under the rules of evidence, anything else that would be admissible will be admissible for purposes of your understanding this plea going forward at the phase 2. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Has anyone made you any promises or guarantees that certain evidence would be excluded during phase 2 that may be admitted during phase 1?
No, ma'am.
And do you understand what I mean when I say phase 1 and phase 2?
Yes, I do.
You've gone over those phases with the lawyers, and I've explained it to you.
Right. Somebody said, "Do you understand that your life is over, sir?" It been over since he been arrested.
Phase 1 is what we typically call the guilt phase, where the jury would find you guilty or not guilty, or perhaps guilty of a lesser included offense. And phase 2 will be life in prison, meaning life with no parole. There's no parole in Florida, you understand?
I understand.
Do you understand that in a lot of states, life means life, but in 25 years, they'll consider you for release? You understand? But Florida, we do not have that. Life means you are in there for the term of your life, and you do not come out until you are no longer alive. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, Mr. Marcus?
One more, Your Honor.
Sure.
And that is, does he understand that all of the attempted murder convictions can be used as an aggravating factor in each of the 17 first-degree murders that will be heard before this jury, and that each of the murders will be an aggravating factor for each murder? In other words,
First of all, she went over all this. Just because you didn't hear it, you better rewind it.
for each murder, there would be 16 additional murders as an aggravating factor and 17 attempted murders.
Okay. So, sir, based upon the state's notice of intent
One thing I'm learning is white people love jail.
to seek the death penalty, first of all, have you gone over that with your lawyers?
Yes, I have.
And there's actually
Or at least white men. They love jail.
a
I mean, not JAIL, GEL for their hair.
two drafts. The second draft, which I believe is the most updated draft, was filed on April 16th of 2018, and it is 3 pages and lists 7 different grounds or aggravators that the state intends to go forth on during the penalty phase. Do you understand?
I do understand.
And do you understand that the felonies that you are pleading to, in other words, I'm going to give you an example. Count 1 of the indictment charges murder in the first degree of Luke Hoyer. By pleading guilty to count 1, the state can use count 1 as an aggravating factor for count 2, murder in the first degree of Martin, Duque, and Keanu. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And so forth and so on. And in other words, each count that you are pleading to can be used as an aggravating factor to argue in favor of the death penalty on each of the other counts of murder in the first degree. Do you understand?
I understand.
And do you understand, sir, that counts 18,
Boy, ain't no hope for you.
34, attempted murder in the first degree, can all be used against you as aggravating factors in support of the death penalty on counts 1, 2, 3, 4, through and including 17, individually and collectively. Do you understand?
I do.
Mr. Marcus?
Damn.
Okay. Ms. McNeil, do you have anything that you feel I have not gone over?
Are you serious, Chris Legit? Are you serious? Crayons in a coloring book. Nia, the ugly girl I be talking about, will be happy because she loves coloring.
Over with the defendant at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Cruz, at this time, do you have any questions?
Yes.
other than the fact that I believe you want to make a statement. But do you have any questions about the rights that we've gone over, about the penalty phase versus
That's all I'm waiting for, y'all. See what he got to say. I'm not going to watch all this.
phase, about any of the specific charges against you, any of the minimum penalties, any of the maximum penalties. Do you have any questions whatsoever about those things?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And is your client waiving a pre-sentence investigation?
Hurry it up. I got a call to make at 1:30.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can't be waived. So I have to order it. And if the defense doesn't want one?
If it's statutorily required, Judge, at this point, we'll say yes, and if there's any issues, then we'll notify the
Okay,
court.
that sounds good. Thank you.
So basically, y'all got off easy because y'all really don't have to do nothing since he done waived all his phase 1.
So Cruz, I'm going to go over each charge with you and ask you how you...
I'm not sitting through that. I'm not. I just want to see if you got something to say.
Count 13. Count 20. Attempted
He already said he
and
put
the
it.
mayor. How do you wish to plead?
Attempted first-degree murder, went to trial. Other surveillance videos with Mag.
I thought he had something to say. That's all I'm trying to hear. This bull crap. Okay, let me see.
Me nor the victims' families that are going to be in charge of imposing the death penalty. I don't know if you meant, the way I took it was you meant that they could ask the state to waive it. No, that's not what you meant. Well, why don't you just tell me what you meant?
What I meant was that I believe they should have the right to choose the victims themselves on whether I should take life or death.
So in other words, you're urging the victims to
You must want to die.
encourage the state to waive it and sentence you to life.
Judge, may I interject?
Sure.
I think what Mr. Cruz was saying was that ultimately in his heart, he believes it should be the victims' families that make the decision about life or death. We have, however, explained to Mr. Cruz that it will in fact be the jury that will make that decision after the presentation of evidence of aggravators and mitigators in phase 2.
Okay.
This, I believe, is just his personal belief.
I understand.
It is in conflict with the law, but he understands the law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Cruz, is that correct?
Yes.
So if you were the legislature, you would leave it up to the victims to decide what penalty to impose, but you understand that's not the state of the law in Florida.
Yes, I understand that.
You understand it's going to be up to the jury.
I understand that.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sure.
Well, he got so much sweat, his Dahmer glass is about to come on. He must want to die. Or he just acting like he has so much remorse that he would want the victims' families to choose. You still gonna die. You gonna fry. Unless they inject you.
Count 3, the defendant has remaining.
All this stuff is redundant, boy. And she got a lens as big as a telescope trying to get her pictures. Or is that a dude? I can't even tell. Look like a midget. Look like a child photographer. Lord have mercy. Did he not say nothing? Or is he talking now? I guess he's not talking, or...
Per day would be the maximum.
Well, isn't this a nice close-up?
Does anyone disagree with that number? Okay. So when I have them start issuing the juror summons, I'm going to have them keep that in mind because I hate to have 300 extra people waiting around all day to be questioned when there's absolutely no way we can get to that many per day. So we'll try to have at least 200 per day for pre-jury selection to go through. And we'll start that on January 4th. Other than that, I'll see you all on the 26th. Yes.
What constitutes pre-selection to another day?
Yeah.
I guess they didn't let him talk, or...
But she managed to run to a classroom 1210 floor.
Did they let him talk?
Can't be waived.
Okay, good. Well, this wasn't about him anyway. Believe it or not, it was about the hot judge. Boy, oh boy. He's the geek of the week. All right, y'all.